Good morning. God bless the faithful and the obedient. This is Sister Liberty, and I'm back with another message for you this morning. So, I wanted to continue touching on how you can't necessarily and you can't really maneuver your way around your problems and around the consequences of your actions. So, the Word of God tells us that whatever a man sows, he's going to reap it. That will he reap. So a we live in a time and we live in an era where we are being taught to band-aid and to just fix our problems instead of actually addressing them and confronting them. We are learning how to cover it up. We're learning how to cover it up. And the world that you're living in is communicating a lot of different things, and they're teaching you. So there's something that's being taught and that's being communicated, meaning you make a problem, you go out and you make a problem, or you go out and you sin, and as a result of sin, so that's law. So law is that if I touch the hot stove, I am going to get burnt. If I walk in the street where there are cars coming, I am going to get hit. I cannot avoid loss. So whatever a man sows, he's going to reap. So whatever I do, whether that be good or bad, and we need to understand that whatever I do, be good or bad, whatever decisions that I am making, be good or bad, I am going to reap what they would call the repercussions. I am going to suffer the consequences of my actions. So it doesn't matter what it is, but the generation that we are living in, they're teaching you how to quick fix everything. That's why if two people come together, let me just turn my mic towards me. If two people come together and they fornicate and, there's an or, there's a mistake, there are ways to get rid of now the new problem. There are ways to get rid of that problem. There are ways to deal with it. There are ways to cover it up to where no one ever has to know that you and this person came together and you all conceived. No one ever has to know. No one ever has to know that as a result of you two coming together out of wedlock, out of marriage, out of the marriage covenant, that you both contracted an STD or that you both contracted some type of disease, whether that's AIDS or whatever else is out there. I don't know what's out there. But as a result of you coming together and committing that act, there are consequences associated with that. And so these things, when we sin, when we commit sinful acts, there are things that are attached to what we do. It's just law. The only way we can avoid bad things happening to us is by simply obeying the Lord Jesus Christ. That's it. Simple obedience, simply turning from a lifestyle of sin and committing our lives to Him. That's the only way we're going to avoid the consequence. Because if we continue living in a lifestyle that opens us up to the curses in this life, and it opens us up to the hardship and the suffering and the pain in this life, then we're going to live a lifestyle full of those things. And we have to understand that the more that we try to maneuver our way around the problem when we really are the problem, the more that we do that, the more that we try to quick fix our problems and our situations, and we try to pay, we try to use our resources to pay for the problem. You have pain in your tooth. You have pain in your tooth because you've said something that maybe you did not realize. Maybe you didn't realize. Maybe you did not associate the fact that why you are suffering right now is a result of what you said the other day. Maybe you have what they call a potty mouth. You have a potty mouth. You curse like a sailor, and you have not connected the dots. You've not, like, the light bulb has not gone off in your head to tell you that, hey, the reason why you are going through this is because of you cursed this person out, or you're always cursing. You speak evil against a man or a woman of God, and now you have pain in your mouth, you have a bad toothache, or you have a pain in your mouth and you can't really figure out exactly where it's coming from. Most are not going to associate their suffering and their pains with their decisions. Most are just not. Most are not. So I'll share a testimony of a brother in the faith that I know. And, he goes to work every day. And there's this one individual who has constantly provoked him to where it led to this female actually who was, so this female, she worked there. She worked at the company, but she did more so of the maintenance work, meaning she did not do what all the other employees were doing. She was a part of something else associated with this warehouse. Okay. So it got to a point where one day she just decided that it will be real funny and it will be real nice to knock or kick over this person's boxes. They're taking things out of the boxes because they work at a warehouse and they have to stack the boxes. So she thought it would be real funny to kick over this person's box, all of his boxes. And so she did. She kicked over all of his boxes and she thought it was funny. And she thought it was even more funny that she knew that this person was a Christian. And people have this thing to where they know you're a Christian. You can't hit me back. You're supposed to turn the other cheek. You can't say anything back. You're supposed to keep silent and give a soft answer. So people know these things. They know, they may not know the full word of God, but they know things. They know that, no, you're a Christian. You're supposed to be this way. And so she thought it was very funny that, no, you can't do anything back, until maybe the next day or a few days later, an axe fell on her forehead. An axe fell on her head. An axe fell on her head. And the individual who she had kicked over their boxes, they noticed that she was not there for weeks. And maybe like the third week in, the person began to ask someone, hey, where is that one person that picks up the trash around here? Where is she at? Oh, well, an axe fell on her head. I heard an axe fell on her head. What? That's not something that just happens. What do you mean an axe fell on her head? Yeah, when you mess with the sons of God, when you are a person who you live life like that, then you have to suffer the consequences. And so when the individual finally did come back, she had stitches going down the middle of her forehead. And so I say all that to say that most are not going to associate their sufferings, their pain, their hardship with the fact that they made these kinds of decisions. Yeah, a whole axe fell on her head. A whole axe fell on her head and she had to get stitches. And it did not come into her mind, man, I wonder if this happened because I kicked that man. I kicked all his boxes down and he's a Christian. I wonder if this is why that happened. And it did not connect in her mind. Most people are not going to associate their sufferings in this life with their decisions. They're just not, unless the Spirit of God reveals it to them. Hey, the reason why you are dealing with arthritis is because you do bad things with your hands? Do you know the reason why you are dealing with blindness in one of your eyes is because you set bad things before your eyes? Do you know that the reason why you are dealing with problems with your hearing is because you open your ears to bad things? Do you know the reason why you are dealing with things on your skin, breakouts and rashes on your skin is because you do bad things with your body? Do you know the reason why you are suffering in your genital area and your vaginal area is because you do bad things down there? Do you know the reason why you are suffering with pain in your feet or pain in your head? You have people who suffer with very bad migraines. But let me tell you something. Your society is going to provide you something for that. If you are going through pain, just take some Tylenol. If you are going through pain, just take some Motrin, or just take some Excedrin, I think it's called. Just take some Excedrin, meaning here's a cover up to cover up your problems. Here's a cover up because we know that you do bad things. We know that you listen to bad things. We understand that you watch bad things, and the world understands that as a result of the bad decisions that you make, that you go out and you do, that there's a consequences There are consequences attached to it. There are sufferings, there are pain, there are hardships, there are curses attached to the consequence. Understand that. Most are not going to connect the dots. And it doesn't help that the society is making you cripple. The society is pacifying you. They're giving you a pacifier. They're trying to calm your pain and alleviate your pain temporarily. Yeah, the reason why you can't sleep is because you watch bad things that causes you not to sleep. You've taken in things that has caused you not to sleep. The reason why you are stressed and you deal with anxiety is because you do bad things. You say bad things. The reason why you deal with asthma is because you go bad places. And so God has to take your breath every now and then, but you've not associated. It's not coming to your mind to say, you know what? I think I'm going through this because of this. I went here yesterday. I said this to that person. That could be why my mouth is hurting. But no, you're going to take your resources and you're going to go and find a nice dentist to alleviate the pain in your mouth, when really you need to address the real problem. You need to address your heart. It's a heart matter. It's your heart that is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. It's your heart. Yes. Evil imagination stems from your heart. You do things based on what's in your heart. Jesus said that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So you say things because that's what's in your heart. And when the pain comes upon you, when the consequence, when the reaping comes upon you, then you want to get out. You want to avoid it. That's the thing. Man wants to do bad in this life, but they want to avoid the consequence. They want to avoid the bad. They want to avoid the evil. They want to avoid the sickness that comes with it and that's associated with it. No, there's things attached to what you do. It would all be nice if there were no strings attached. If I can just go out and fornicate and not have to worry about a baby coming, or not have to worry about getting an STD or AIDS or whatever else is happening now, because sin creates more problems in the earth. I want you to understand that. Sin creates more problems, and it does give the unclean spirits more access to our planet and more access to your life. And so when things begin to happen, when new diseases are birthed and created, you can't question why. You can't wonder why. So it would be nice if I can go out and steal and not have to worry about being put behind bars. Or I can go out and murder and not have to worry about being put behind bars. I can go out and, rape people's kids and not have to worry about the consequences of that. No, there are strings attached. So whatever I go out and do, there's something on the other end of that I may not be able to see. I may not be aware of it, but it comes with that. It's almost like I just get the visual of, let's say that I have to keep saying fornication because that's what you see the most. That's what's celebrated. That's what's supported. That's what's publicized and encouraged. That's why they have condoms. We're going to talk about this. We're going to have real conversation. We're going to talk about this. That's why they have condoms. So cover up your problems. But, when I see that fornication, I see strings attached. Yeah, the curses that comes along with that, the sufferings and the pain that comes along with that. You don't know that people are suffering as a result of fornication. They're not going to come out and verbalize it. They're going to find things to fix it. They're going to search for things on the internet that your government and the people of your world makes available. You don't ever have to tell anyone that you went out and you did this and now you got this. You went out and you thought that was a beautiful woman and you slept with her and you found out that it was actually a man and now you got something. Now you got what they call that burn or whatever else. They have a lot of different names nowadays. I don't really know. But, now you got that burn. And so now you're going to go and you're going to search the internet. You're going to search the web to figure out what can you do to, calm the symptoms, subside the symptoms and the pain, so that it doesn't show up in your body. Because, sin will do that over time. It will begin to show up in your body. Sin will begin to show up in your body if you do not deal with it. If you do not address it, it will show up in your body. And so you have to find things to cover it up that your society provides, because the government knows that people do bad things. So here you go. Here's some medication. Here's some pills to cover up your sin. So you keep sinning. And so it paralyzes you. It cripples you. It pacifies you. It delays. It makes the effects very minor. It minimizes the effects. You really should be suffering at this degree and at this level, but your world provides, and I must not have put my thing on do not disturb mode because I'm getting notifications. But anyways, your society is teaching you that it's okay to do bad things. You can just learn to cover it up. You can just put a band-aid over it. Don't worry about the deep effects later on, because most people, they try to cover things up now, but you cannot avoid the consequences. You cannot run from the law. So most end up suffering later on. If it doesn't show up very critically in their life immediately, then most do suffer later on. Meaning most people start suffering with severe cancer later on in their lives, in their 40s and in their 50s. That's still considered very early. Most are suffering even in their 20s now from all types of different diseases and different types of cancers. How is this happening? Why is cancer showing up more early now? Why are the signs of cancer showing up more early now? Why are the different diseases showing up more early, and it's becoming more aggressive, more brutal, if I want to say? Yeah, it's the sin. It's the sin. You know, they make anxiety pills and depression pills and, stress relieving pills and insomnia pills and every kind of suicide pills, every kind of pills they make out there for you, because they know that you're too dumb, and excuse me for that. They know that you're not smart enough to associate the fact that you are dealing with this because of what you watch, because of the way you choose to live your life. You are dealing with this, but you have resources, you have money, and so you go and you pay to fix your problems. You are learning, you are being taught that's communicating to you. When they show you things on TV, why do you think they're selling all kinds of medication on the shelf that you can go and buy? Matter of fact, here's a whole section of pills that you can choose from to fix and cover up your problems. Yeah, this is the section for problem fixing. This is the aisle for problem fixing. Do you have a migraine? Do you have a headache? And it's really a result of the bad things that you think. Yeah, your head hurts so bad because you think evil. You think perverted. You lust after every woman that you see. You lust after every man that you see. You lust after the things that you see on TV. You watch wicked things. You set pornography before your mind, or before your eyes. And you have not associated the fact as to why you are suffering with these migraines, why you have tumors growing on your brain. You've not associated it. Nothing in your mind tells you, you know what? This could be because of what I watched. This could be because of what I set before my eyes. This could be because of that. I wonder, could we connect the dots? Because whatever a man sows, that's what he's going to reap. Oh no, you're going to reap this. Someone has to pay for this act right here. The world teaches us that. They tell you that if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, because you're going to have to pay for this. Someone has to pay for this. Okay, you stole it from the store. Somebody has to pay for this. Whether that's you, if you are a juvie or a minor, then it's going to fall on the person who's responsible for you, your parents, or the person who's over you. It's going to fall on someone because someone has to pay for this. Okay, you just murdered that person. You know that you have to pay for this, whether that's time behind bars or that's execution. Someone has to pay for this. Hey, you just robbed those people. You just stole from them. You did these things at this level. You committed such a major act that now you have to pay for it behind bars. And so now you have life in prison. Whoa, how did I get life in prison from committing such an act? Well, someone has to pay for this. Something has to pay for this. Something has to pay for something. And a lot of times when we get ourselves caught up in things, we just pay our way out. we like doing that. Our society is teaching us how to just pay our way out. Just pay your way out of it, man. Just go and get an abortion. Just pay your way out of it, man. Just go and buy some pills. Just pay your way out of it, man. Just go and pay a dentist to alleviate the pain. Go and find a doctor that can help you in your genital area, in your vaginal area. Just go and find someone. Go search Google to help you fix that problem, to alleviate your pain, because you're suffering right now. That's what you are being taught. That's what you are being taught. And I opened my Bible because my intentions was to go to David. Go to David because David committed an act. And not just David, because there was another story that I was trying to remember the guy's name the other day. It was Gehazi. It was Gehazi. So I said it started with a U, but it didn't start with no U. It started with a G. It was Gehazi. And 2 Kings, I think it's chapter 5. Chapter 5. So I wanted to read this too. So I did go into 2 Samuel verse 11, and the 2 videos prior to this one, I did go into that, and I talked about how, David had got himself caught up in some stuff. He was supposed to be at war, at battle, but he stayed behind, to, find something to do. And him finding something to do got him in trouble to where he desired another man's wife, and he fornicated with her. And guess what? Guess what happens when you fornicate? Things come out when you fornicate. So he fornicated with her, and he got her pregnant, and he tried to cover it up, but God exposed his sin. God revealed his sin, and God took the life of that child. God took the life of that child. So that was David's story. But no, I wanted to read about Gehazi and what he did, because we really need to understand that whatever we sow, we're going to reap, and that our decisions, be good or bad, whatever we are doing, that's going to come back on us. The world teaches us that what goes around comes around. They got that from the Bible. You reap what you sow. Yes, whatever you do unto others is going to come back around to you. They got that from the world. So we need to understand that, be good or bad, whatever I do, I'm going to reap the repercussions of that. Whatever act I commit, I'm going to reap that, be good or bad. So you have Gehazi here. He's Elisha's servant. And so Naaman, this Syrian, he has this disease. He has this disease as a result of sin. And he comes to Elisha, and Elisha tells him, dip in the water 7 times. He does. He's healed. And so Naaman decides he wants to offer Elisha some things. And so let me see where I want to start at. Let's see. Okay, I'll start at verse 14. So 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 14. Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child. And he was clean. And he returned to the man of God, and he and all his company, and came and stood before him and said, Behold, now I know that there is no God in all the earth but in Israel. Now, therefore, I pray you take a blessing of your servant. So Naaman wanted to give things to Elisha, but Elisha ended up rejecting it. He said, but as the Lord lived before whom I stand, I will not receive it. So here it goes. Elisha is not wanting it, but Gehazi hears what's going on. He hears what's going on. So he says, and he urged him to take it. Take it with you, for he refused it. He refused what Naaman was trying to offer him. And Naaman said, shall there not then, I pray you, be given to your servant 2 mules, burdens of earth? For your servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto the Lord. And this thing the Lord pardon thy servant, that when my master goes into the house of Ramon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Ramon. When I bow down myself in the house of Ramon, the Lord pardon thy servant in this thing. And he said unto him, go in peace. So he departed from him a little way. So he left. So Naaman is like, okay, thank you. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to offer up a sacrifice to your God now. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, Elisha was a man of God. said, behold, my master has spared Naaman the Syrian and not receiving at his hand. Like, is he crazy? Like, Naaman just got healed and he just offered you some things. You should, no, my master should have received that. What's wrong with him? I got this. Let me take care of this. Let me take care of this. And not receiving at his hand that which he brought. But as the Lord lives, I will run after him and take somewhat of him. So Gehazi followed after Naaman. And when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down from his chariot to meet him and said, is all well? Is everything okay? And he said, all is well. My master has sent me. So now he's lying. Now he's lying. I'm telling you, sin will get you in trouble. Lying will get you in trouble. You're going to reap that. That's going to come back for you. You're going to reap that. He says, all is well. My master has sent me, saying, behold, even now there become to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray you, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garment. And Naaman said, be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garments and laid them upon 2 of his servants. And they bore them before him. And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand and bestowed them in the house. And he let the man go and departed. But he went in and stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, whence comest thou, Gehazi? And he said, your servant went nowhere. You can't lie to a man of God. You cannot lie to a man of God. Why do you think he even asked that question in the first place? Where have you come from, Gehazi? Where did you get back from, Gehazi? Where did you just come from? And he said unto him, went not my heart with you? Did not my heart go with you? When the man turned again from his chariot to meet you, is it a time to receive money and to receive garments and olive yards and vineyards and sheep and oxen and manservants and maidservants? The leprosy, therefore, of Naaman shall cleave unto you and unto your seed forever. And he went out from his presence a leper as white as snow. So what I just read there was Gehazi receiving his due reward for the act that he had just committed. I wanted you to get the picture and get it in your mind that whatever a man sows, he's going to reap. So Gehazi went after Naaman after his master Elisha rejected what Naaman had to offer. He said, there's a time to receive these things, but if I have rejected it, then there's a reason why. But Gehazi, his heart was into the material things. His heart was attached to the material things. So he went after it. And as a result of his actions, so he acted on that. He went out and he went behind Naaman. He acted on that. And as a result of his actions, he has to suffer the consequences. And so the leprosy that was on Naaman is now on Gehazi. He has to suffer with that for the rest of his life. That's painful. That's painful. So at least he's able to associate why he's now being cursed with this disease. But most cannot. Most can identify as to why they are suffering with what they're suffering with. I remember when I was in fornication, and I received something. I knew immediately why I received that. I knew immediately. No, it's because I did these things with my body. And so now I have to suffer. We don't understand that the reason why you're going through what you're going through, why you're having pain in your hands, why you're having pain in your thighs, why you're having these breakouts, why you're dealing with things on your face, why you're having arthritis, why you're having migraines, why you're dealing with blindness in one eye, why, your teeth all of a sudden is just falling out and you're in your 30s. You've not even reached that age yet for your teeth to start decaying, but you've not associated that the reason why you are suffering with what you're suffering with is simply because of what you are doing with your life. The acts that you are acting out on, the acts that you are committing, you're not associating that. And a lot of times, most of the time, not everything is going to show up on your body. So some people, they just experience hardship in this life. So sometimes people may not get the migraines. They may not get pain in their mouths because they curse like a sailor or because they watch bad things or they entertain bad thoughts. But most are going to experience things outside of their body, meaning this person can't keep a job. They're always getting fired. This person, things are always being stolen from them. Yeah, because you are a thief. You take things from people. You are a liar. And so, you keep running into dishonest people. Yeah, you were looking for love. You got what that person wanted what you had. That person got what you for your money. They took your money. They took of you, put you in debt, and then they left you, and you've not associated that. The reason why you attracted such a bad person and why you keep attracting bad people is because of the way you are. No, you are a dishonest person. You lie on your taxes. You lie on your government assistance. God sees that, and as a result of that, you are going to reap the consequences of that. Yeah. And so when you go out trying to look for love, you're not going to find you're not going to find any honest people. You're not going to find sincere love. You're going to find people that just wants to take from you because you're that way. You're that way. Yeah, this person can't keep a job. They're always getting fired. This person, they can't keep money. They live a lifestyle where it's what they will call holes in their pockets. Yeah, I struggle with poverty. I struggle with poverty. Yeah, because you're this way. You're this way. You struggle with poverty. This person struggles with always getting things repoed. Every time I get a car, it gets repoed. I can never seem to keep a job long enough to keep up with the payments. Why is things so hard? Why is life so hard? It's the lifestyle that you are living. You are reaping some things. And if you are a wise person, then you will begin to evaluate and comb through your life as to why you are suffering with what you are suffering with. And sometimes it could just as well be those that have come before you, meaning there are generational curses that can be passed down. There are things that can be passed down. And so it'd be wise to consider what you are going through and why. A wise person will say, why am I going through this? Because Solomon says that in the day of adversity, consider, question, why am I going through this? Did I do something that offended God? Did I say something? If it's something that's happening with your mouth, consider, did you say something that you should not have said? Do you curse like a sailor? Are you a liar? Do you have cancer in your mouth? Because people have all kinds of cancers and they don't understand why. Why do I have pancreas cancer? Why do I have anal cancer? Why do I have infections in my genital area? Why do I have infections in my mouth? Why do I have infections in my ear? Why did the doctor tell me that they found a tumor growing on the side of my stomach, growing on the side of my hip, growing on the side of my brain? Why do I have bumps on my tongue? What's happening? Why am I struggling with nasal issues? Why is one of my nasal, swollen? Why? People are not associating it. Why am I going blind in one eye? Why am I going deaf in one ear? Why is it that I'm having strokes and I'm in my 30s? Why is it that I am experiencing seizures? Because people are going through this. People are going through this. People are suffering as a result of their sinful lifestyle. They're suffering as a result of the acts that they have walked in and committed, and they're not connecting the dots. They're not, because they just go out and find things to kind of help them maneuver their way around the real problem, which is them. I know that you are suffering in your body. I know that you don't like pain. So here's some pain reliever. Here's something to help you alleviate your pain, although you are a bad person, although you do these kinds of things. But here's some pills to help you. Here's some pills to help you. I'm telling you, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. You can live a lifestyle where you've learned to get yourself out of problems. You've learned to just buy your way out. The rich does that. The rich, they do that. The rich, they do that. They've learned to buy their way out of problems. It's okay. I got money for that. Oh, okay. We have that kind of problem. We got into a car accident. Oh, I got money to deal with that. Okay. They just hit me with this. Oh, I got money to deal with that. Most the rich, they're buying their way out of their problems in this life. But one day they're going to have to stand before God and give an account for every single thing that they did. One thing that you cannot buy your way out of is standing before God and having to give an account for everything that you did. Oh no, someone has to pay for this right here. This is a list of charges against you. Someone has to pay for this. Unless you repent, those charges can't be dropped. Unless you repent and turn to God, those charges cannot be dropped. You're going to have to pay for those. And so whether you pay in this life, because maybe you are suffering, maybe you've minimized the effects of your action. Maybe you minimize the pain and the suffering because you just learned how to just go to the store and buy stress relieving pills and buy depression pills and buy suicide pills and buy anxiety pills. Maybe you are doing that. And so you've minimized it. But when you stand before God, and those charges are not dropped, and God says, yeah, you just bought your way out of life. You bought your way out, and instead of you actually dealing with the issues in your heart and dealing with the fact that you have lust issues, you have a lying issue, you have, an issue where you've learned to manipulate people. You have these kinds of problems, and you never actually dealt with you. You've just learned to maneuver your way around life. Now you have to face eternal punishment, and that's not the will of God for your life. The word of God says that it's not the will of God that any should perish, but that all come to repentance. But when we live a lifestyle where we are being taught to just cover up our problems and maneuver our way around it, then it teaches us how to be bad people. And it teaches us how to live in a way that says, I can do bad and I can just cover up the pain, or I can avoid the consequence. That's what your world is teaching you, that you can do bad and you can avoid the consequences. This is how. If you want to do bad, if you want your cake and eat it too, then this is how to avoid the consequence. Do these things and just go and do these things. Pay for this, get this, sign up for this, get this. Yeah, that's what your world is teaching you. But it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. It's a fearful thing. So we don't want to do bad things and try to run from the consequence, because when we do, then when we stand before God, the punishment, the payment for our actions are going to be very severe. They're going to be very severe. So we reap what we sow, be good or bad. Whatever you sow, that is what you are going to reap. So if you are sowing good, then you're going to reap good. If you are sowing bad, you're going to reap bad. If you are a dishonest person, if you are a liar, if you are a person who's manipulative, then you are going to attract those kinds of things. And so you can't question when you run into people that are like you. You can't question when you run into bad people that are like you. No, you're this way. You're this way. So you attract those kinds of people. And so you get those kinds of results. So let's be free from that. Let's be honest. Let's not be those that lie to ourselves. Let's not pretend like we don't do bad things. Let's not be those that do bad things and try to cover up or avoid the consequence. No, whatever a man sows, he's going to reap it. That's it. That's the law. That's law. That is law. You can't avoid that. If I touch the stove, I'm going to get burnt. If I run in the road, I'm going to get hit by a car. If I jump off a cliff, I'm going to fall to my death. I cannot avoid law. I cannot avoid it. Whatever I sow, I'm going to reap. Period. So God bless you.